Why am I doing this on the floor? Oh, my lovely pillow. This is going to be a short video about how to defeat one sensor, and that is the rear ABS sensor. This one here. Before I tell you how to do it, I'm going to tell you not to do it. So don't do this, basically. There are two legitimate reasons, and there are a lot of very illegitimate, very bad reasons for doing this. The two legitimate reasons are, number one, you might want to do this and defeat the rear ABS if you're using the bike off-road. So that's the main reason that I'm going to be doing it. There is another legitimate reason, which is if you want to temporarily test the effects that your modifications have had on the bike. If you're properly modifying the bike quite a lot, and this applies to any bike, then you can defeat the sensors in one way or the other, but just do it temporarily. You'd have to be a complete idiot to do it. If your reason for trying to defeat the top speed limit on your motorbike is you just want it generally faster, get a faster bike. Just don't get like this. This thing is a Royal Enfield Scram. It's basically a Land Rover. If you're modifying a bike because you want it faster, don't start with a Royal Enfield, basically. Sorry, I'm sorry, that's bad news, isn't it? I do want it a little bit faster, but yeah, it's like starting with a Land Rover or a Citroen or something. Like you don't, if you want to have a fast bike, start with a fast bike. Don't start with something like this. But I love this bike, it's brilliant. But yeah, it is governed in the top speed to exactly 83 miles an hour. And what happens is when you start modifying it, as I have, the acceleration just keeps going until it hits that limit, and then suddenly it backs off. And it backs off down to 82, 81 miles an hour, and then it goes, oh, okay, we can go again, and it surges again. And it's really annoying because it's like, this thing clearly has far more power in it. It's clearly more able once you start modifying it, but it's being limited by the ECU. And the ECU is basing that limiting data on, for this bike, it's basing it on top speed, as sensed by the rear ABS. Now the front ABS on this bike is running the speedo, and it's also compared to the rear ABS, but for some reason, I don't know why they've done this, but for some reason the rear ABS sensor is the only thing that the ECU is looking at in order to limit the top speed. So there are three ways that we can defeat this little sensor, this little lad right here. There's nothing clever about these. There's no like electronics in here really. There's no microchips or anything clever. It's literally just you know, a magnet being affected by the magnetic waves there. So you can easily remove this without any issue. But there's three ways to do this. But before I say what those three ways are, I have to reiterate: don't do this. Disabling your rear ABS is as stupid as going out for a ride without a helmet. Now there are lots of you know, American states where there's no kind of helmet law, or there's laws around there's no like safety rules around how they make helmets in a lot of states in America for some reason. And yeah, the risk to life is just obscene, and it's all for the sake of profit, and it's kind of grim to see that sort of complete lack of standards. But that's my European safety talk over with. If you're just generally wanting to defeat your top speed limit, look away. Just don't watch this video because it's not for you. Here's how to do it. Get a Allen key, and you can just undo the sensor from this little hidey hole there. So this is method number one. Undo it, and then you can use that hole, zip tie it up somewhere, zip tie it out of the way, not too close to the exhaust, but yeah, zip tie it out of the way so it's not going to rattle around and get munched off. So that's the first method. Downside to that is that it will show a ABS light will come on. So what? And the second downside to it is that your rear ABS just won't work at all. That's a bit of a disadvantage. If you're off-roading, it's perfect. It's a great way to do it. So if you want to temporarily switch off your rear ABS in order that you can lock up the rear wheel, really useful that. But yeah, if you're just going to use this thing on road, don't do this. The second downside is that once the ECU's had a while to compare the rear and the front wheels, you might also throw an engine light. So get an ABD scanner and you can reset the engine light, but it's no biggie. The second method to defeat this the top speed limit, but whilst allowing the ABS to keep working, the second method is to get custom cut a notched, what's it called? ABS spindle or something. What's it called? ABS disc, I suppose. Anyway, you can custom cut them to reduce the number of holes in it. So per single rotation, if you were to reduce the number of slots in that disc, I mean, you'd have to custom cut it so you'd have the same mount points and stuff. But if you were to reduce the number of holes in it by, say, 10%, what would happen is that you would gain 10% in your top speed before the ECU started to limit you. So that would be a method of increasing your top speed. The downside to that is that the readout on the speedometer might be affected. The second downside is that comparing the rear and the front ABS would mean that the ECU would eventually throw an engine light. That's the second downside. So that's option 2. Option 3 is to do what I'm going to do, which is to the 2 wires in here, get one of them and cut into it and lead it off up to the handlebars and put in a switch. I'm tempted to put in this switch because I found that and it's kind of awesome and 70s, but I don't think I will. I got this cool kill switch instead, so I'm going to use that because it makes me feel like a fighter pilot. So I'm going to mount that somewhere up at the front and have that as my killing the rear ABS only. Don't ever kill the front ABS, you idiot. I'm going to kill the rear ABS using this, and all it'll do is it'll be a circuit breaker for one of the wires in here. Really simple, super simple. And what that'll mean is that if I'm if I'm out and about on the roads, but then I'm going to go off road, I can just really quickly flick that switch and I'll be able to lock up the rear wheel off road. So that's what I'm going to do. Finally, just to reiterate, don't do this. If you're just generally hoping to defeat your top speed limit from your Royal Enfield ECU, don't do it this way. Like, just don't. It's just a really bad idea. The rear ABS does a fantastic job, does a really important job. It will slow the bike down brilliantly, especially on the Royal Enfield Scram, which is known for its spongy front brake. It has a really ropey front brake, so yeah, you need the rear brake to be doing its job and keeping you alive. If you want to defeat the ABS systems because you want to die, then that's a separate issue. There are better ways to go than having your skin rubbed off on a road at 60 miles an hour because you haven't been able to brake in time. Don't make your bike dangerous purposefully because you're feeling like you're in a bit of a dark place. It is a serious subject, you know. If you're feeling in a dark place, lots of people are there, lots of people have been there, and lots of people will take that really seriously. And there are fantastic places you can talk to. If you're in the UK, really recommend Calm, the campaign against living miserably. Sorry, this is a bit of a tangent, but it's an important thing to say for bikers, you know, because often biking and mental health, they are analogous subjects. They are subjects that do come up together. Bikers will know that, you know, going out on a bike makes you feel different. It helps connect those pathways in the brain. It helps you to process things, frankly, and it does. It's a legit, you know, it's something called bilateral movement. It legit changes the way that your brain is able to process stuff that you may be holding. If you have a bit of a death wish, you know, it's important to take a step back and at those times when you've got a bit of energy, make a bit of a plan for what happens during those darker times. Make a plan of, you know, who do you need to maybe talk to? Who do you need to not talk to? And what are those things that you can put in place to look after yourself in those dark moments? Because humans have this kind of fuck it kind of mentality where we do tend to disable our ABS and just go as fast as we can. We do have this like, let's just set fire to everything kind of thing in us, and it's nothing to be ashamed of, but it's something to be aware of and to plan for when we have a bit of energy. Let's look after ourselves because we are precious and lovely. Oh God, we're so precious. There we are. By all means, temporarily defeat your rear ABS in order to unlimit your top speed of your bike. If you're interested in top speed, generally, as a general rule, don't buy a Royal Enfield. I mean, it's not. It's a Land Rover, basically. You don't see souped up Land Rovers very often. Maybe you do. Oh, I'd love to see a souped up Land Rover. Shit. Anyway, so I'm defeating my own points here. Yeah, so it's not a very good idea to defeat your ABS. It's not a very good idea to the extent that it will ruin your life permanently. If you are going to do it, if you are either testing modifications temporarily or you're going off road and stuff, there's those three different ways of doing it that I've said. And finally, if sabotaging your own bike is something that appeals to you because you have a bit of a death wish, that should be ringing alarm bells, and that is something to look into, and it is something to take really seriously. Yeah. Pardon me. If you liked that burp, subscribe to my channel. You weirdo.